So welcome to hear what's new in expenses area in this new release. My name is Tiina Karhapää and I'm lead functional consultant here at Tietoevry. If you have any questions, please type them into the chat area and we will go them through after the presentation. This session is also recorded for your convenience, so you can come back to it afterwards if needed. Also, you can take handouts, you can download the presentation in PDF. And we welcome you to join our Digital HR Insiders group so that you get all the invitations and meaningful content from our specialist. Safe harbor statement applies because in the presentation there are functionalities that are not yet in the production tenants. First, a little bit of the highlights of the last year. So first we got a new scanning solution which uses Google Cloud Platform APIs. And the reasoning behind why Workday took Google in partnership with this solution is that Google has and is investing a lot to this global scanning solution. So by using this, we really get in the Nordic countries also get used to and can take advantages of this new technology. And we get in more and more languages into the solution and also more fields. So currently this solution supports 5 languages and 4 fields, but there's more to come. This solution, as many of the, for example, machine learning solutions as well from Workday, require this innovation services agreement. And what it is, you can take a look at the link. There's a community link there in the material, so you can go and see that documentation. But basically, the reasoning for this is that these machine learning solutions and solutions that involve third party, they require some different data flows, for example, than usual functionalities. And that's why Workday wants to make sure that all the data requirements are met. And that's why there's this formality. But that doesn't mean necessarily more costs, that it's just to make sure that all the requirements are met. Also last year we got a new expense report work area, and this is a dedicated workspace for expense report viewers and approvers. And the benefit of this work area is that it's more efficient to process your expense reports via this work area than from your inbox. There is a new enhancement in this release which touches also this expense report work area, but I will tell about that one in a minute. Key features in this release. Overall, we can say that this release is a bit smaller one compared to previous ones. So when you look at the number of the functionalities that are released now, there are these 3. So first, machine learning based expense protect functionality, which you can use, for example, from this expense report work area. And this functionality helps to recognize anomalies in your expense reporting, and in that way enhances the viewing and approving process in your company. The other new functionality is that you can now create expense reports on behalf of your job application candidates. And the benefit of this functionality is that it replaces some manual and ad hoc transactions. It's more handy now to report the costs that may occur for your candidates. And the third new feature is a more technical one. There's now new template which supports Amex Global file format. But let's go into the features themselves. First, we take expense project, and here's always a link also to the community page if such exists, so that you can check the documentation also from there. Expense protect. So when your users submit expense reports, so this functionality automatically evaluates line items and can give you risk levels and recommendations and insights. So in this way, it enables your back office to quickly and easily identify possible problems in the expense report. And in that sense, it makes your review process more efficient and speeds up your reimbursement time. And as this is using machine learning, it's part of these innovation services as well. How do you see this expense protect in practice? So when you go into your expense report work area, you see these two new columns. There's risk level and there's risk insights. And what do these columns tell you? So risk level tells you how likely it is that there's something wrong in the expense report. And risk insights tell you that what kind of problem there might be in the expense report. There's currently like two different options. There's something wrong in the amount itself. It may be a too big amount, for example, compared to others, or then there's incorrect expense item. You can drill down into the expense line items from this review button here. And when you go to the line items, you can take a closer look of the expense line item. And here also, if you validate that, okay, this is not right, you can send the expense report back to initiator from this screen. In order this functionality to work, you need one part of the configuration is to set up these risk levels. These values that you see on the screen now are coming as a default from Workday. For example, if the risk level, if expense report line item gets risk level high, it means that 90% of the line items in your history are at lower risk. And that is the reasoning why that particular expense line item gets the risk level high. You can change these default values if these limits does not meet your requirements. Also, you can, by doing the security settings for your expense report business process, you can define who will see these new fields in expense reports. Additional considerations here. So in order to machine learning function, so in order machine learning to be able to give you relevant and meaningful risk recommendation, of course, there must be some legacy data there. So they have said that we need to have at least 10,000 expense reports in order to work this perfectly. But once this functionality is activated, this risk level evaluation happens right after you save the expense report. And it works with submission through desktop, mobile, and web service integration. So what do you need to do to take this into use? So first you sign in to these innovation services if that's not already done. Then you need to set up the security policy so that you can enter to the innovation services functional area. Then there are some machine learning related activations and activation of this expense protect domain. Then you configure these risk levels according your needs or leave them as they are. And then you can configure these optional fields to tell who can see those in the expense processes. And of course, if you do nothing, you won't see any changes to the existing functionality. Then we move over to the expense reporting for candidates. So you may sometimes need to pay costs for your job application candidates. For example, if they come to interviews and things like that, they may have some travel costs which you need to pay. And this feature eliminates the needs for manual workaround and ad hoc payments. And this also enables you to track the expenses and costs related to your job candidate processes. Also, now you can configure security to this candidate expense data. So you define yourself who can see and what can see. And now I go shortly to the expense reporting for candidates. I just show you how this looks like in the system when you do your expense reports for non-worker. So first you go in and choose the payee type. And the thing that this candidate shows here already is by default. Even you don't activate this functionality, this candidate option shows here, but I choose the candidate. But what you can do now is that you can choose your pay to by candidate. So when I have chosen candidate and choose pay to, my candidates list becomes visible here. And what is defaulted after I have chosen my candidate here? I get a default job application here. So this Anna here is assigned only to one application. So the one application shows here as a default. If this Anna would have more job applications, there's a list where you can choose what application this particular expenses is related to. Also, what is defaulted are the company and the cost center and all other data that is assigned to this job application. And from here, you can now continue to do your expenses as before. Additional consideration related to this feature that it's your expense partners who does these candidate related expense reports. You can also create custom reports where you have only these candidate expense data. And if you wish, you can take into use this work tag job requisition for your expenses. So you can activate this work tag so that you can follow your cost also by work tag. You can also reassign some credit card transactions to candidates, and then when you do the expense report, you can pick up those costs there. You can also route these candidate expense report to specific reviewers and approvers. So there's this step in the expense report business process where you define who are the reviewers and approvers for this kind of reports. And also you can create a custom filter to your settlement runs for these candidate expenses. What do you need to do to take this functionality into use? So first you have to maintain payment election for your candidate so that system knows where to pay those costs. Then you need to tell the system who can pick up these. So you activate this domain so that these initiators can pick up the candidates from the pay to prompt and also the relevant job applications. Then if you wish, you can configure this segmented security if you want to restrict who can who can use and do these expense reports. And also optional is that if you want to take this job requisition work tag into use, so there's one setting that you need to do. And if you do nothing, so you still will see this candidate when you go into the create expense report for non-worker, you will still see this candidate option there, but there is no like connection to any job applications. Then there's a new Amex format for credit card transactions. So now with this new template, you can import credit card transaction file with masked credit card numbers instead of full credit card numbers. And this enhances the security and privacy of those credit card files. There is this legacy or still existing but soon deprecating template KR1075, which will be going away. And when comparing these two templates, this older one is supporting only unmasked credit card numbers, meaning full credit card numbers, and also it requires the usage of this PCI secure credit card environment. But this new template, it supports only masked files and doesn't require this PCI usage anymore. So now when you go into the integration template catalog, you see this new template there. And remember, we are more than happy to help you taking this new template into usage if you wish. So what do you need to do? So first you need to set up and configure this new template, and then contact Amex and request them to send you this new file format instead of that previous one. Okay, so these were the new features for this release, and now a few words about the expenses roadmap. Here is a link to the roadmap documentation. If you have a time, please visit that. There's, for example, 20 minutes video about the future roadmap, so it's very, very useful to look at. Here is the summary page. I will pick up some of these future enhancements now. First, a few more words about these receipt scanning services. So if you are not familiar with the service, so you can scan your receipt, and then when you are going to do your expense report, you can pick up that receipt, and system automatically pick up currently these 4 fields into the expense report. What we are waiting now, actually it probably should have come already, but we didn't find any what's new post for this one. But in the near future, we are expecting more languages to come in to the service. For example, all Nordic and EU languages. So definitely we can take more advantage of this solution in the future. Also, they are putting in more and more fields so that when you scan your receipts, this service recognizes more fields than it currently does. Then there will be expenses hub for worker. So in this new expense hub, it's a simplified view for your users to help them to navigate through their tasks. And also things needing users' attention, for example, what credit card transactions are not yet processed, or what is the status of my expense reports. That kind of things are more in center in this hub, and it's a one place where you can go and see all of your pending tasks and also create new expense reports. So this is something to look for. In the roadmap summary, we will get more enhancements into the receipt scanning functionality, meaning more languages and more fields which service recognizes. Also, for example, functionalities, some functionalities are lifted up from brainstorms, for example, emailed receipts. So you can email your expense receipts and you can generate expense report right from that attachment. And also when you are doing expense reports and your mileage, you can search the mileage from the map solution. That is also going to be a very handy functionality. That was all from me today. So if you have any questions, you can contact me anytime. And also, we highly value your feedback. So if you have time, please fill in this short survey and give feedback from the presentation.